Story time on how my dad tried to abuse me, but my mom saved my life. Okay, y'all, so boom, we gonna get right into it. I was 11 years old at the time, but I only lived with my mom. My parents were married, but my dad had an engineering job at another state, so I rarely seen him. Until around this time when everything started happening, my dad lost his job and he ended up moving back in with me and my mom. So me and my dad's relationship was never the best because it was kind of short-lived and over the phone, but I thought that him moving in would change that. Now, my mom was working 2 jobs, but she was doing so great at her first job that she was going to quit at her second job because they were giving her a promotion. Keep this in mind because it's important for the future. So about 2 weeks into my dad moving back in with us, I would always be alone with him when my mom went to work. And each day in these 2 weeks, it started escalating more and more between me and my dad. Things went from him rubbing my shoulders to my arms to my thighs and to my cat. I didn't know what to do, and each night I went to sleep crying, running out of time, like for part 2. Part 2 on how my dad tried to abuse me, but my mom saved my life. Okay, so boom, like I said, my dad went from touching me on my shoulders to my arms to my thighs to my cat. I cried myself to sleep every night because I was terrified and I didn't know what to do. I didn't tell my mom because I was literally just scared. But my mom is a superhero. She noticed that there was something wrong with me. She asked me if I was okay and she kept checking on me every single night. I even heard her ask my dad what was going on, but of course my dad denied knowing anything. But my mom noticed that things changed only when my dad moved back in. So the next day, remember that job I told you my mom had? Yeah, she got promoted and she quit her second job. She literally came home 6 hours early. So of course my dad didn't expect her anytime soon. Well, she seen my dad trying to do the nasty with me and she literally slapped the living soul out of him. Me and my mom went to my aunt's house and she divorced him and he's now in prison. Till this day I thank my mom because he never got a chance to fully violate me. Story time on how my mom and dad did the nasty with my best friend. Okay, so boom, my best friend is 17, my mom is 34, and my dad is 38. Every day after school, my mom would pick me and my best friend up and take us to our home because my best friend's parents worked until late nights. My parents grew to love my best friend and she became part of the family. Well, one night I went to another friend's house to complete a homework project. And when I got back, my parents and my friend looked strange. They were all laughing and just really touchy with each other. Little strange, but I thought nothing of it and I pushed it to the side, and a month later I got a job. So now my mom would pick me and my best friend up from school, but this time she would drop me off at Chick-fil-A. And every night I got back, things got weirder and weirder. But once again, I just kept brushing it off. But little did I know that I was about to walk into some mess. Let's just say cops were called. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how my mom and dad did the nasty with my best friend. Okay, so boom, like I said, things kept getting weird with my parents and my best friend, but I just kept brushing it off. Well, one day I was covering a shift at my job, Chick-fil-A, and when I got there, the person was there. Turns out that they were just playing a prank on me, but that's neither here nor there. So I called my mom to come pick me up because it was so early. My mom didn't answer, my best friend didn't answer, and my dad didn't answer, so I got worried. I had $40, so I ended up just taking an Uber home. Once I got there, I searched my whole house and there was no one there. But I found all 3 of their phones in my parents' room, and my mom's clothes was all over the place. So I called the cops. I start searching the house and I'm on the phone with the cops. I end up going to the back of the house where the spa is. Yeah, our house was pretty big. I make a right turn to the spa and find my dad, my mom, and my best friend doing the nasty in the water. Ciao, like for part 3. Part 3 on how my mom and dad did the nasty with my best friend. Okay, so boom, like I said, I make a right turn to the spa and I found my mom, my dad, and my best friend doing the nasty in the water. I literally screamed so hard and the cops asked me if I was okay. Then I said, sorry, there's no missing person, but there is underage nastiness going on. The police immediately came, arrested them, and they pressed charges. All 3 of those people I call my mom, dad, and best friend tried to apologize to me, but I definitely did not accept that. And I ended up moving into my granny's home. Now I'm 27 and I'm happily married. And I didn't invite none of them. I also have a 1-year-old baby boy and my mom is trying to see him. But nope, my grandparents are my only parents that I know. Just because you're blood doesn't make you family. Good riddance. Story time on how I caught my dad cheating on my mom with her twin sister, and I didn't even realize it. Okay, so boom. My mom and my dad had been together for 14 years up until this point. And my mom was actually pregnant with my soon-to-be little sister. My mom and my dad almost never argued. They had a pretty solid relationship, or so I thought. And my mom was very close to her twin sister for obvious reasons. I mean, they're twins. Well, one day when my parents was at work, I decided to skip school with my friends and go to the movie theaters instead. But I needed some money. So I was planning on going home to get money out of my mom's purse since she never noticed when I took anything. I assumed the house was empty because I was usually the first one home, then my mom, then my dad. Remember that because that's important for later on in the story. Y'all, I ran into the house and I went straight for my parents' room. I mean, I was loud. I didn't hear any moaning, y'all. Guess he was doing a bad job. But anyways, I opened that door and there it was. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how I caught my dad cheating on my mom with her twin sister, and I didn't even realize it. So like I said, I opened the door into the room and there it was. My dad and my mom's sister literally staring at me in shock. I closed that door so fast and ran to my room, I didn't even give him a chance to react. Y'all, I didn't even realize that wasn't my mom. Don't worry though, because I eventually did. Stick with me. But yeah, I was panicking on how I was going to explain why I skipped school and that I just walked in on them. I was waiting for them to come talk to me, but they never did. About 4 hours later, my real mom came home and screamed that she got food for us. Now remember what I said. I'm usually the first home, then my mom, then my dad. So my mom only bought food for me and her, assuming that her husband wasn't gonna be home till later. So anyways, I went downstairs and told my mom sorry about earlier. She was confused and said what happened earlier. And this is when it got real, y'all. Like for part 3. Part 3 on how I caught my dad cheating on my mom with her twin sister, and I didn't even realize it. So like I said, I told my mom I'm sorry about what happened earlier, and she said, what happened earlier? Y'all, my stupid ass. I really thought that was my mom's way of trying to act like nothing ever happened. So I just laughed. But then I said, where's dad's food? Then my mom said, you know he doesn't come home from work till later, so the food was spoiled by then. Y'all, at that very moment, it hit me. I realized that when I opened the door for that split second, I didn't see my mom have a pregnant belly. So out of nowhere, I made that, oh my gosh, I just realized something noise. You know that noise. It goes like this. So my mom's still confused, asking, what's wrong? I said, Mom, were you here earlier? She said, of course not, honey. I was at work the whole day. I screamed, oh my gosh, Mom, Dad is cheating on you with Lily. My mom immediately stopped eating. Like for part 4. Story time on how I slept with my professor in class. So I was 18 at the time and he was 38. To give you guys a visual, he was a little bit on the heavy side and he was balding. Anyways, I don't know about y'all, but I suck at math, so I always needed that extra help. And if you guys were wondering, the class is calculus too. Well, throughout the course, I always stayed after class to ask my professor some questions and he was always willing to help. I always caught flirting here and there, but I always pushed it to the side. Well, one day I stayed after class like usual to ask for help, but something changed. He gave me his credit card and told me to go downstairs to get him something to eat and to also get me whatever I want. I hesitated at first, but he insisted, so I took the free food. That kind of became our routine and I found myself spending more time with him. Mind you, I am literally failing his class each test. But one day before I left, he put his hands on my inner thigh. Then when I stood up to leave, he squeezed my ass. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how I slept with my professor in class. So like I said, I stood up and he squeezed my ass. Please ask me what I did about it. I ignored it and act like it never happened. And just like that, the dynamic of our teacher-student relationship changed. I would stay after class, get his card, we eat, and he fills up on me. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't stop. I liked when he would rub on my thighs. I felt like a bad girl. Woo, it gave me a thrill. Well, this particular day, it got real. He was rubbing all up on my inner thigh, but this time he went up and touched my cat. I knew right away it was about to go down. He pulled me in and started kissing on my neck, and I stood up and got on top of him. And child, we started making out. He stood up to go lock the door and turn off the lights, and it began. Like for part 3. Story time on how my boyfriend mom went from hating me to having a threesome with me and her son. Okay, so boom, we are jumping right in. One day I was with my boyfriend and we were on our way to the movies and he got a call from his mom. She told him that he needed to come home immediately because of something important at home. But I knew that every time she did this was because she really just wanted her son to stop hanging out with me because she hated my guts. Like she did not like me and I never knew why. Oh, but one day I figured it out. So one evening on the 1 month anniversary of me and my boyfriend, boyfriend. I was getting ready, doing what girls do, and I kind of expected you know what to happen, so I shaved my hoo-ha. I got all pretty and I headed over to my boyfriend's house. I knock on a door and his mom answers. His mom then tells me that I'm an hour early and he's still getting his haircut, so he's not home. I told her sorry, I must have gotten the times wrong, so I asked her if I can wait right here. She gave me a disgusted look and said whatever and slammed the door. Then she said she's been waiting for this moment, like for part 2. Part 2 on how my boyfriend mom went from hating me to having a threesome with me and her son. Okay, so boom, like I said, she closed the door and told me she's been waiting for this moment. She then says that I'm a fine young lady and she's been waiting to have me alone and that we have 1 hour before her son gets there. At that moment, it hit me. I knew exactly what was going on. And quite frankly, I was happy because his mom is hot. She led me to her room and then we started doing the nasty. By the way, she's 29 and I'm 17. Y'all wouldn't believe what happens next. My boyfriend walked through the door, caught us, but he wasn't shocked. He wasn't even mad. It was more like a jealous thing. Then he joined and we all started doing the nasty. I was literally shocked. I didn't believe what was happening. And this went on for 2 years. But then me and my boyfriend wanted to stop and just focus on each other and not his mom. She didn't like that at all. Like for part 3. Part 3 on how my boyfriend mom went from hating me to having a threesome with me and her son. Okay, so boom, like I said, after 2 years of me and my boyfriend dealing with his mom, we wanted to stop and just focus on each other. And oh, she didn't like that at all. She went right back to treating me horribly and hating my guts. And whenever she had a chance, she kept trying to break me and my boyfriend up. But it never worked. It looks like the only way to make her stop is to dabble back with her, but I'm not interested. Eventually, I'll move out with my boyfriend and we'll be all situated. So if you find out your boyfriend mom hates you, maybe she just wants to be with you.